Hello, YouTube land. My name is Raul, and I'm going to be reviewing Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Chapter 5, Specialized Knowledge. So in this chapter, it begins with comparing specialized knowledge versus general knowledge. In the book, it kind of debates that having a vast amount of general knowledge rarely transmutes into riches. So they go into an example of Henry Ford. In that time, Henry Ford was deemed to not be an educated man. One of the newspapers of his time put out an article labeling him an ignorant pacifist, and he ended up suing them. He took them to court, and they put Henry Ford on the stand. And the lawyer that was questioning him, his objective was, of course, to prove that Henry Ford was ignorant. And one of the questions that he asked Henry Ford was, do you know who Benedict Arnold is? And how many soldiers did the British send over to fight the rebellion of 1776, Continental Army? And his reply to that was, I don't know the exact amount, but I know that far less went back than they came. So less went back to Britain than they came. And then he goes on to ask him a bunch of other questions. And what he gets annoyed, Ford gets annoyed, and what he does is he's, why are you asking me all these questions? He said, what I do know is that I have a row of electric buttons on my desk that I can ask anybody for any specialized knowledge that I need in my efforts. So basically saying, he could call on any of the engineers if he's having a problem. He could get an expert up, and they could solve the problem. And why would he, clutter his mind with all this general knowledge when he has, all the specialized knowledge at his fingertips. And when he answered back like that, they kind of, they shocked him. He didn't say it was pretty logical. I mean, that does make sense. Just because you don't know something doesn't mean you can't find out where to go get the knowledge to answer your question that you're looking for. So it goes over knowledge is not power. Apply knowledge is power. So actually taking knowledge and turning it into actionable steps and executing on that's power. So it says school doesn't teach us, right? School doesn't teach us how to do that. Basically, school teaches us a subject and it's on to the next class, right? We don't really go into the practical side of actually applying what we learn. So educate, derived from the Latin word educo, meaning to induce, to draw out, or to develop from within. So then he goes into, over that educated people are not necessarily people that either have a specialized or general knowledge. That doesn't necessarily mean you're an educated person. What educated people have developed is their faculties in their mind. So faculties of their mind meaning their imagination, their memory, their perception, their intuition, reason, and will. So that's an educated person. And then it goes over it knows to pay. It pays to know how to purchase knowledge. So you can purchase knowledge by books, by school, by special training, and then first-hand experience, and then the experiences of others, which kind of goes into a little bit. It says to create a mastermind, which technically that's what Henry Ford had. He had his engineers, managers, the people in his company that had specialized knowledge in particular areas of the company. So have a dream, aka dream team. I put that's my dream team. Having a group of people around you that you guys can play off each other's strengths and weaknesses. So you might know something, but somebody in the group might know a little bit more, have specialized knowledge in a particular subject. So it goes over that, and then it goes into some examples. Two of the stories that I'll say, I'm not going to go over all of them, but two of the examples were of a man that was working in the grocery store. Right, he got fired or laid off, and they laid him off. So instead of finding a job, what he did was he decided to specialize in bookkeeping and accounting. So what he did was he started a business, and he used his imagination. They had like mobile offices, and there were the price that he was charging was way more affordable than his competitors, the big guys. And he got creative, and that kind of iterates that too. Is he used his imagination with specialized knowledge and had a unique selling point. So he was unique because of how he was doing it. He was he was unique. He stood out from everyone else. So it was very successful. The business was very successful. And another one another example that they go over in the chapter is of a kid. He's trying to get an executive position right at this company. He goes to school. He gets the specialized knowledge. And we all know the saying, you start from the bottom to the top. You come in on the bottom and then you work your way up the ladder and you get to the top. Well, not in this example. So he had his mom, and his mom put together this book, selling propositions. I mean, she was really trying to help her son get this executive level position that he was looking for, to have an advantage, to start off at an executive position instead of trying to work up the corporate ladder. And she succeeded. She put a lot of effort into to helping him out. And one of the questions, and I'm kind of condensing all this, so read the chapter for sure. It goes into more detail. One of the guys in the chapter asked, "Well, why did you go through all that trouble just to get a job, to just get a position? He said, because I put so much effort in marketing my son, and for him to get that position at the salary that he wanted, he bypassed like 10 years of that grind of trying to go up the corporate ladder. So maybe it's not always from the bottom to the top. Maybe it's from, maybe upper middle to the top. So it's something new. And then it just goes into specialized knowledge. So the main concept of this chapter is specialized knowledge into actionable plans of execution. So execute, action, and getting first. My personal opinion is having first-hand experience and education is probably the best way to go. So anything we do, first-hand experience is good because you've done it. If you suck at it, you could get better. So kind of the moral of the story. So very good chapter, man. Like I said, read the book for yourself. I definitely recommend it. And thanks for watching, and subscribe.